It's happened to all of us, and for most of us, we are expecting it. I'm speaking of breakups. There is something about breakups that I've noticed. We are shocked at how sudden it is, but even more so how cold our exes could be. Maybe they're not cold right off the bat. I mean, when they break the news to you, they're going to be almost, compassionate about how you feel. They'll maybe hold back on giving you answers and say something along the lines of, I just don't feel it anymore. Like it came out of nowhere to them. There's that implication that it was some epiphany that you two weren't meant to be. Maybe you completely disagree and maybe you feel like that person is your soulmate. And you fight for the relationship right there and then, riding a wave of emotion that ultimately will doom you. I've been there, guys, and I remember trying to crawl my way back into her life right there on the spot. And it was interesting to see a breakup develop when I look back on those situations. Like I've said in the past, it's important to be really objective about our performance when we're using the rule of 7. And if you apply that same objectivity when you review your past relationships, I think you can see that situation with more clarity. A big component of the success of the rule of 7 is improving our emotional regulation when dealing with people. With that newfound ability, we can understand that our previous actions and relationships weren't necessarily successful and shouldn't be replicated when you find your new partner. With the mindset that I'm trying to instill in you, we can turn these situations around if it was to happen to you again. What I mean is we can salvage the relationship. At the moment of the breakup, like I spoke earlier, it might seem that she still cares a little. It may seem that there is a glimmer of hope that you can reconcile and figure this mess out and that this was just a test or a brief lapse of feeling. So your mind is flooding with ideas and words, ready to defend what you have or had with this person. You're trying to organize those words and it seems she responds relatively quickly without the same rush of adrenaline or confusion that you're dealing with. Because the reality is it wasn't something she just thought up. It was actually something she was thinking of for weeks or months. And all that time she was playing this scenario out in her head. She was preparing herself with rebuttals to your claims and to your emotional pleas. She is cold. She is cold because she emotionally prepared herself for this. The stark contrast between you and her, it further reinforces her choice and justifies to herself that she made the right decision. That this guy isn't enough for her, and you aren't strong enough for her. She comes away with massive amounts of power in the relationship. Your dying relationship. Everything you say is unprepared and everything you say is strictly emotional. As much as you might try to rationalize what is happening, you're coming up with plans to correct your mistakes and ideas to rekindle the romance. Unfortunately, this was an ambush. Like it or not, the person you love or who loved you for some time sprung this trap knowing there wasn't an out for you. So as you fight and as you beg and as you plead, you keep losing respect in her eyes and eventually you recognize the self-respect you lost as well. And if you haven't, you will now, I think. And I'm sorry that we have to think about it, but we can really look back on our lives and separate the emotion from the experience and know that we're all the better for it. If you continue to fight for your girlfriend, you'll see cold turn into mean into cruel. How could this be? You ask yourself. You've known her at her worst, or so you thought. The thing is, her mind is made up. There is no talking her out of this decision. It's not just a decision. I think a better way to describe it is it's her new life. She's fantasized about the freedom and the choice of men at her disposal and being able to grow again. This is actually her new life. You're attacking that new life. And she tried to be as kind as she could, but as you attack, she defends, and she will defend with every tool at her disposal. And as we know with any ex, they know everything about us, and this means she's quite well armed and equipped for this battle. She'll start trying to give you answers as to why she's doing this to you, why she's breaking up with you. But, these answers they're initially designed to not hurt you unnecessarily. She was obviously in a relationship with you, and she did used to care about you. She's not an evil person yet. The answer's like, we both saw this coming. Or, I just want to work on myself. Those turn into, I'm just not attracted to you. And as you come up with solutions that you promise to see through and to enact changes to better the relationship, she needs to pull much bigger guns into this fight. Her loss of attraction will now be more specific, and now it will hurt. Maybe it's how you kind of got comfortable and chubby, or that you're just not as hot as these other guys chasing her, or you don't make enough money, or you're really not ambitious enough. Eventually, it'll get cutting enough to silence you. And then it's over. Or so she thinks. It ain't for you though, is it? You'll be dwelling on it all night long, thinking of the perfect thing to get her back. That night, well, that turns into weeks. And those weeks turns into months. Maybe a year of dwelling, thinking, and torturing yourself as the person you love lives her new life. What you might not understand at that moment is that there is really nothing you can say to get her back. No matter, how many talks you have with her, and no matter how many letters you write, words are not going to change her mind. The longer you draw this out, the less of a chance she'll ever come back. It's almost ridiculous to think about the idea that you can change immediately or even just overnight to fix everything that you perceive was wrong with you. You're just admitting that she was maybe kind of right that you didn't stay on top of this relationship, in the sense that relationships and love require action. It's maintained. How do you maintain a relationship with action, though? Well, it's about always being attractive to her. Maybe you did get a little chubby, getting comfortable in the relationship, perhaps. Maybe she's right when she says you really aren't as physically attractive anymore. What if you did kind of not realize your dreams as well? Maybe you two have been in a relationship since college, and years later you didn't achieve like you thought and said you would. The lack of attraction, the lack of respect are killers in relationships, and the causes of these lackings aren't something that can be corrected in a short period of time. You do need to become attractive again, but not just for her sake, but for your own. And so maybe you can find someone else again, right? Oh, you don't want to find someone else again. You want her back. I gotcha. Trust me, I know how you feel. Considering you probably want her back again, you might have Google search for advice on, how to get your ex back. Then you find there's a whole industry related to getting exes back. There are communities that everyone can grieve together and exchange their stories of successes and failures and rekindling those relationships. The most common tactic that people tout is the tactic of no contact, where you cut off all communication with your ex and sit back hoping she reaches out again. During that time, it's implied that you should be working on yourself, exercising, developing your career, having fun with your hobbies and the like. Honestly, I think this is the perfect response to a breakup. But as you peruse these forums of people experiencing the same pain as you start to understand no contact isn't something everyone can see through. It's not easy to deny yourself of a person. You love them. I understand. As effective as I think no contact is in getting an ex back or helping you move on, it's not really effective to implement after you did all that groveling and pleading and begging and crying. It seems like you just gave up after exhausting all your energy instead of making a conscious choice to respect her wishes and having an innate confidence in yourself to find a new relationship and to have a lot of self-respect so you don't prostrate yourself to anyone. So how does the Rule of 7 help in getting your ex back? Well, I think it's best to understand that there is no guaranteed way to get your ex back. When she was thinking about leaving you, it's highly likely she had someone lined up already. Some people call it monkey branching, where a woman has her hand on two branches, or effectively two different men, you and some other guy. It makes the transition easy for her, and it kind of kills your chances of getting her back anytime soon. The best thing to do is apply the Rule of 7 anytime you're outside of a committed relationship, without delay. Notice I didn't say no contact is necessary. As much as I want you to not contact her, I'm all about making things easy at first to adopt. Easy to incorporate into your life so you don't get discouraged by the complexity or maybe the lack of results. Let's say you just got broken up with and you practice the Rule of 7 for the time before this relationship. Great, so you have the mindset of abundance of options and the understanding that she really isn't the only one. But if you haven't practiced the Rule of 7, let's start right now. So you want to grovel, plead, and beg for her. Okay, do that. So you want to call her and set up a time to have a conversation about what you did wrong and what you can do to fix it. Sure, set up like 50 of those calls and meets if you want to. Maybe you want to send her gifts and flowers and the like. Okay, do that until you can't. I can't make you not do it. And you definitely want to do it. Even if it's just a small part of you. Fine. Live your truth, but only if you apply the rule of 7 to your life at the same time. So when you do text or call her, I'll let you count that as one of the 7 women you need to speak to today. That means you have 6 other women to find and speak to and converse with and ideally go on dates with. I want you to lay in bed and relive the pain of the breakup over and over again, if that's what you want to do. But you have to promise me you have 6 other women you're just casually speaking to. Hell, even if you want to speak to these 6 women about your breakup, about your ex, I don't care. I don't care what you talk about. I don't care if you run them off in a day as long as you find another 6 to replace them. I'm letting you live the life you want to live, just kind of augmented with a mindset that eventually will help you find the light at the end of the tunnel. What happens when you live this mindset? The obvious thing is you realize that other women exist that are attractive, intelligent, interesting in all sorts of ways. Sure, that will happen. You'll likely also be distracted from the breakup, right? Yeah, that will happen. Maybe you'll find someone to go on a date with and maybe a second date with. Yeah? That will probably happen. Yeah. Would it be cool that your ex starts to understand that you have all these different women's attentions? Maybe every time you meet up with your ex, you start to exude all this newfound confidence. I guess that's cool, sure. Maybe she'll start to internalize the idea of you not being in her life anymore. If she sees you going out on all these dates, wow, pretty cool, right? Maybe you start becoming a better version of yourself. You're fitter, you got a promotion, and you have a whole new sense of yourself. That's awesome, man. I mean, anything could happen. I don't really care about one specific outcome, to be honest with you. All these scenarios I mentioned are just great side effects. You know what I really want to see happen, though? I want to see you ready for the next time. I want you to be prepared just like all these women were when they left you. I want your mind to be stocked with ammunition to fight any battle the correct way, the successful way, because this will happen again. You'll be broken up with again. So what do I want to see happen the next go-around? Well, it's incredibly important to know the normalization and the emotional regulation that occurs from adopting the Rule of 7 is going to be key in actually performing when you're not even implementing the Rule of 7. Okay, what I mean there is that because you experience attention of many women, you entertain that attention, you've been with so many women that you come with a truly qualified opinion about your capabilities and potential, what those are in the dating world. Because of all of this, when your girlfriend says to you, I think I want to see other people, your natural reaction to this will become the most beneficial action to getting your ex back, if that's what you want. What is your reaction going to be? It likely will be something along the lines of understanding that she made a decision and you respect that decision a lot and hope everything works out the way she wants it to. It's not fighting for the relationship because you know it's over already. It's not fixing your issues. There hasn't been enough time to fix those issues yet. Your focus will be on respecting that she has her own agency and that you have the potential and you have the capacity to find someone like her again or better. Well, so how does this help you get your ex back? I want to say it again. There is no guarantee she's coming back, no matter how awesome you are or you become. Okay? Though, I don't think she would have ever encountered anyone like you or us before, men who have taken the idea of the Rule of 7 to heart. We've been tested constantly. We've endured the scrutiny of dozens to hundreds of women. We've experienced all sorts of rejection. Breakups are just another type of rejection. We have this armor that she hasn't ever tested until this point. She prepared this whole interaction, prepared to defend against your emotional assault to get her back. But it doesn't go the way she planned it. At all. It will be puzzling. I haven't encountered women who comfortably deal with my ability to move on quickly. It's kind of shocking because it says a lot about how men typically act, but I'm thankful for that. In the sense that we can stand out from the crowd. So in the best case scenario, I've had women tell me, or scream at me, why is it so easy for you to let me go? I can assume the breakup was some sort of sick test, but I don't comply there. But maybe the breakup is real, and though we do end up really breaking up, I can tell she wasn't really expecting me to quite give in. For these types, they usually have another guy already. Okay, the breakup wasn't anything but her wanting to explore her options. She's figuring she's more valuable and more attractive than you are. Her staying with you lowers her status, her influence, her value, her attractiveness. You not fighting back and you letting her go amicably is a first step in proving your real value and your real attractiveness. The self-respect you have for yourself. You're not scared of not having her. It speaks volumes because it'll be a rare experience for her. So you need to let her go, and you'll be kind and understanding while doing that. You don't chase her, and you don't fight. Why? Because it won't even be a thought that comes up in your head. Guess what? You're not in a committed relationship anymore. Our mindset is about immediately implementing the rule of 7. You have 7 women you need to find and talk to ASAP. So what happens next? Well, personally, I don't see a reason at all to speak to her unless she reaches out to you. The whole no contact thing still applies. But what she's likely doing is balancing 2 feelings. The feeling of the weight off her shoulders because she was planning the breakup for who knows how long. And it's finally over. That is just a huge relief, especially considering the fact you didn't give her any trouble in breaking up. It didn't go the way she planned though, right? It was way too easy. It would make sense that she might consider it rather confusing because most any other guy would be falling apart. She's going to enact all the wonderful things she thought about now that she's free from you, regardless of the confusion. For now, likely she has lined up another guy or two and is going to give them a shot, and she was possibly maybe already cheating on you with them. She will do what you are needing to do. She's going to try to grow personally. She'll feel free to try new hobbies, a new venture, or spend more time with friends and family, who will likely further encourage the decision she made to leave you, by the way. You have a lot going against you, so it's very important not to give her more reason to be away from you. So let's do this. Take note of the following tips to help you through this breakup, as these tips will give yourself the best chance to get her back. Number 1, don't talk to her unless she talks to you. Number 2, don't look at her social media accounts, like ever. But do not unfollow her and do not block her. Number 3, this means don't block her phone number as well. Number 4, don't talk to her friends, family, or your mutual friends about her or really anything else. Number 5, don't accept help from anyone in regards to contacting her for you. Number 6, don't post on social media looking for people to sympathize with your situation, nor use social media to broadcast how you're trying to recover from a breakup. Number 7, don't listen to advice unless they're from really experienced people. Number 8, work on yourself in a way that improves your attraction to other people. Number 9, finally, and of course, take the rule 7 to heart and get out there and talk to other women. Let's break these tips down as I want to be as clear as possible. Number 1, when I say you shouldn't talk to her unless she talks to you, it comes with the understanding that A, you will converse with her without any agenda. B, you'll be friendly and light, so that means no pressure to see if she'll go out with you or prying into personal life, such as asking if she found another guy. C, if she is keen on actually seeing you again, you should oblige her, but not be overly anxious or clingy. To clarify this, you don't want to go out of your way so much to see her. It should be convenient and reciprocal. If you do see her, your conversation will again be light and friendly. But if she's displaying any interest to reconcile, you should match the interest with the caveat that you'd like to take things slow. Number 2, in regards to social media, please do not torture yourself by looking at her accounts. You and I know there's a huge possibility she'll be with another guy. And I need you focused on yourself. Though we aren't going to be looking at our ex's social media accounts, you aren't to block her and you aren't to act out of the norm. It would look quite petty if you block her, and you also don't want to limit the way she can reach out to you should she have a change of heart. Consider strongly not posting on your accounts in a way that seems dramatically different. It may be best not to post anything at all. But if you do, make sure it isn't about bragging about seeing another girl or how bad your recovery is going or anything like that. You post how you would always post. So if you're a guy who likes sharing details of the latest video game coming out or what have you, stick with stuff like that. Do not talk about the breakup at all, nor entertain questions about your followers about the breakup. Number 3, do not block her phone number. Again, it's petty and it seems like you don't know how to control yourself. And it may be the way she contacts you again. It doesn't mean you have to reply if you aren't ready to, but you need to reply eventually. There is some advice that no contact needs to last a predetermined length of time, or that it means you'll never ever reply to her and only you can break no contact. This is nonsense. You will reply when you're ready to, and when you feel you created a life worthy of admiration and you find yourself attractive again. Know that the relationship you had with her has ended, and any new interaction you have with your ex will be the start of an entirely new relationship. This is because you need to be a different, better person, and because you cannot bring anything from the old relationship into the new. Specifically, no drama, no resentment, no baggage. You must enter the new relationship happy to see them and happy with yourself. This isn't about trying to recapture whatever you lost in the previous relationship. This is all about reattracting her and building something new and better and healthier. Number 4, after the breakup, you cannot talk to her friends or her family or your mutual friends about the breakup or about her. Matter of fact, don't try to talk to them at all. You cannot try to circumvent the loss of communication with your ex. You cannot display a sense of weakness during this breakup. You cannot look like you're trying to manipulate others to work to your benefit. These actions will all actually hurt you. Number 5, refuse help in resolving this breakup. This is between you and your ex, and she has expressed that she doesn't want to be with you. You must respect that, because if you care about her as a person, then you care about her wishes. So don't let your friends talk to her, and don't let your family reach out to her. Number 6, when you use your social media again, you cannot post about the breakup or about her. I recommend not posting much at all, but if you are a regular user of a social application, then use it like you always have, but don't talk about the breakup. Ever. Number 7, please don't listen to people's advice about trying to get her back. Unless you're speaking to someone with decades of dating and relationship experiences, most people do not have a qualified opinion about breakups. Look to professionals to help you with ideas of how to reattract your ex. Number 8, when I talk about working on yourself, it comes from the idea that a breakup happens because your ex is not attracted to you anymore. Perhaps you changed from when you first met. Perhaps she has grown into a different person. We have to accept responsibility. We had our role in this breakup. I don't care how much of a surprise it was for you. If you were to look back on this breakup years from now, I bet you would have a great understanding of what you did badly or wrong. If you have a good idea of what you need to improve, that's great. Work on that. Some common areas that need work would be your overall health and fitness, your ability to make money, your codependency. And by the way, this means developing things that interest you personally that will allow you to be healthily apart from a girlfriend so you can have space in a relationship and she can have space as well. Your appearance aside from your health, such as your fashion sense, cleanliness, hairstyle, etc. Those are things you should be working on to improve as well. Number 9, adopting the rule of 7. It's so important that you make this part of your post-breakup life. You won't broadcast your new mindset to your friends or family or social media. This is just for you. Don't tell people or show people you're going on all these dates, talking to all these women. If your goal is to get your ex back, then understand these interactions could push your ex away if she knew. Though, you just might find someone you really like who's better for you because you're exposing yourself to so many new people. Keep an open mind as to what is best for you. It is not uncommon for this time to be incredibly difficult for you emotionally, especially if you haven't got into the mindset of the rule of 7 yet. So if you do need help, you should speak to your family, your close friends, or professional therapists, counselors, or the like. You shouldn't be ashamed of needing to speak about this, but honestly, to get her back, she can't really know about the difficulty you're going through. Eventually, I hope you find yourself in a mental position that doesn't allow others to have a strong impact on how you feel about yourself, but to get to that point, it takes a lot of time and a lot of work. I want to address the ideas of loss and attraction and responsibility in the breakup. I was in a relationship with a woman for some years, and I truly felt she was the one for me. It was amazing to have found someone who had the same energy level as me. We were both kind of homebodies, but really loved going out to eat. We enjoyed the same types of foods, and foods were really important to us. Asian foods of any type, sushi and Korean barbecue especially. We both gamed together heavily. It was awesome to have a really great MMO player sitting right next to you so that you can talk to them during a raid. We both love Star Wars and like the same TV shows and movies generally. It seemed perfect, and I couldn't see myself being with anyone else. But then one day, she was pretty distant. She wouldn't text me back when she was at school or at work. Typically, she would send me texts between classes or during her breaks at work. Not anymore, though. Not at all. I'll have to wait for her to come home before we can talk again. So you can imagine for years you had this expectation and routine that breaks down in a matter of a few days. It was obvious something was wrong. When we were together, she would still say, "I love you," and the like, but I could tell she wasn't really there in the moment. She wouldn't talk about her day at all when asked. So after a little over a week of this, I completely understood it was over for her mentally, and whatever was happening was the minimum she was willing to now invest in us. Me having been around the block when it comes to relationship, I've dated hundreds of women and have been in many, many relationships as a result. I knew it was not salvageable at that time because it was obvious there was another guy in the picture. If she can't or won't text you at work or school, it's possible that one of these places is where she's hanging out with the other guy. She can't pull out her phone because the guy might not know she's in a relationship, or she has given him the idea that the relationship is dying. She came home one day and didn't say anything but, "Hey, I'm home." I tried asking her one more time about her day, asking her, how was her health sciences test? A terse response, void of emotion, followed. Her face was different, how she held it. It was obvious I was annoying her. I sat down with her as she watched TV and said, "I understand that I'm no longer attractive to you in some way. Just know I love you and you're important to me. And me saying that, I want you to be happy." She didn't say anything at first and stared straight ahead. I look at the TV, saying nothing, waiting for a reply. And then she turns to me after a silence of maybe 30 seconds and says, "You're right. I liked someone else and I didn't know how to tell you. I'm sorry." I replied saying that I figured that and said I felt sad knowing that, but respected that she told me the truth finally. I stood up and said she will always be important to me and I will always want her. She told me it was a guy she met at school. We had a silent understanding that it was over. I told her goodbye. She replied with goodbye. And I left. Guys, I was messed up. Bad. As a person who has never had a nightmare bad enough to recall or to wake me since I would say maybe 13 years old, over 20 years later, after this breakup, I couldn't sleep for days. I would have these nightmares of seeing her post on social media about her ex and how much of an a-hole and loser he was. Regardless of these emotions, I knew that I had to keep living, and I immediately went back to my Rule of 7 mindset. If it wasn't for that, I don't think I could have left her that very night. Why did I leave? Guys, the relationship was over. She had decided that this new guy was the one who was more attractive. There was nothing I could do or say to salvage that relationship at that moment. She had been seeing this guy for who knows how long. It could have been weeks or months. Remember, she was prepared for this. Her coldness and terseness was evidence of that. The best thing I could do is respect her choice and give her all the space she would want to explore a life without me. She should experience the breakup. She should know what it's like to be without me in her life. I know that I needed to leave that relationship with, number one, and her understanding that she's important to me and I love her. Number two, that I equally love myself and my needs are important as any other person's in this world. Maintaining the respect for myself and trying to have her respect me as much as possible sets me up for the best possibility to rekindle the relationship. From that moment on, I reflected on my responsibility in the failure of the relationship, just like I would have had a post-mortem about any date during my dating years. I think I identified where the loss of attraction originated. I had a career change during the last year of the relationship, and money wasn't as free-flowing, per se. Not that she was materialistic in any way, but I think the unsureness I had financially made me less confident. Maybe I talked about my financial problems too much as well. Maybe I shouldn't have taken work home, quote unquote. Maybe it was best that when we were together, I should have been more happy and fun. Maybe I should have better maintained my health and fitness as I gained 10 pounds in a year or so. It was definitely something along these lines combined with any great traits of the new guy she met. So I addressed these problems and put my head down and charged as hard as I could with improving and solidifying my new career. I worked out every day, cooking every meal myself at home. I talked to 7 women a day. I went out on dates. I really thought my ex was just perfection, but going out with these new women reminded me that wasn't exactly the case. They didn't change the fact that I would love my ex for I don't know how long, but I found great companionship with these women and could even see myself with a few for a long time. And eventually, I explored the later idea and started seeing a woman as a girlfriend. I wasn't necessarily surprised to have found someone. It was just that I was in that committed relationship mode for so long that it was all I could really think about. But I didn't forget my roots, and the Rule of 7 really helped me cope. And of course, it encouraged me to seek a new partner. And just as a reminder, we need to utilize the Rule of 7 to help with our breakup, and maybe you'll use it to get your ex back. But it might do for you what it did for me and help you find a new relationship. What I'm saying is the best course of action is to live the life the Rule of 7 provides, as that is the best chance for you to find happiness. Thank you for your time, and you'll be hearing from me again soon.